ao programa Vem Comigo! E hoje tem aqui um convidado muito especial. Um convidado que tem feito uma grande diferença na vida dos políticos. Richard Boraks.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boraks, to be here in our show.
Thank you.
You know, I would like to interview you because you're tough. You're tough, you know. I like it, the way you're driving things. You know, and it's not because, you're over here, but I can see you're tough. You fight for your rights. When you believe in something, you don't give it up. And then
and you pay the price.
And you pay the price.
Oh, you pay a big price, Giuliano.
You know what? I see that, Ahmed Hussein is in trouble because you've been taken to a court. Why?
Well, it's before the courts now, and I can't discuss the issues before the court, but basically the issues about undocumented workers.
Well, undocumented workers, we have a Peter Fonseca, taking Peter Fonseca to a court as well?
Well, once again, I can't discuss the particulars of
why. I have to ask, as a journalist, I have to ask.
Well, we can discuss the issues.
Okay.
I can't discuss the court case.
All right.
You can ask them yourself. You can call Mr. Hussein, you can talk to Mr. Fonseca.
I'm going to take advantage right now, Mr. Ahmed Hussein, Mr. Peter Fonseca. I'd like to really talk to you about this pilot project because I saw the paperwork and then Mr. Richard Boraks and sue you guys, and then it's going to be a tough situation because especially right now, 2019 is election, federal election, and then
and that's a big issue.
It is.
Let's not kid ourselves. In Toronto, and in Hussein's writing and in Peter Fonseca's writing, especially in Hussein's writing, there's a lot of undocumented workers, their families, their friends, their employers, and this government and the previous government and governments for years simply do not know how or do not want to bother fixing the issue. You're talking 10% of the workers, 10% of the workers, Giuliano.
The producer's asking to turn you a little bit to the camera.
There we go.
There we go. See the production. Live shows like that.
Well, God bless you. God bless you for going live. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Richard Boraks, we're talking a little bit before the show starts, and you say, I stand up for my clients. When you say, I stand up for my clients, what do you mean? What are you trying to say when you mention those words? I stand up for my clients.
What that means is lawyers are there to defend the legal rights of their clients. And undocumented workers do have rights. Ottawa, the federal government, does not want to give them those rights. So what do lawyers do? You go to court, and if you lose in court, you have to lobby. You go to the government and you push. Now, the real problem, and when you're acting for undocumented workers, it's a big problem, is they don't have money, they don't have the networks. The rich people, the Chinese, the Arabs, the other immigrants that come to Canada, our Indian friends, our Chinese friends, they have powerful lobbies. They can go to Ottawa and they can really maneuver.
So whatever doesn't have money, they have a problem.
Money is a biggie. Money buys political power, unfortunately.
Do you think the immigration issue in Canada is a chaos or no?
Well, it's not what I think. Well, our minister, he has confirmed, he says that the refugee side, he used the word, it's no longer sustainable.
Well, that refugee, do you think United States offer any dangers to people to come to Canada and give themselves as a refugee?
I'm not going to get involved in that. I'll tell you why. In this country, everybody has an opinion. The media, the politicians, everybody talks about 30,000 people crossing the border into Canada. I'm focusing on, in Ontario, 500,000 illegal workers are here now, and nobody talks about it.
500,000?
500,000 in Ontario.
How do you know those numbers?
Because, our good friend Peter Fonseca acknowledged there's 1 million in Canada.
1 million in Canada?
1 million in Canada. Illegal.
How many immigrants come to Canada per year? Just
300,000.
Around 300,000.
But it's 300,000. But in Ontario.
How many states? You don't know, right?
No, Ottawa will not tell. There are statistics that show that of the 300,000, less than half will actually stay here. You've got a lot of people, especially rich people, they come here, they get their visas, they leave their kids here, and then they leave.
Right.
and they don't generate benefit for this country. Now, Ottawa refuses to divulge the data on how many people actually stay here. But we know the numbers are not good.
Well, Mr. Boraks, I admire, you know, your attitude. I admire the way you drive things right now, because after being attacked, very hardly attacked. You're 40 years, you know, you're being a lawyer for 40 years, and you're being attacked by, you know, big media, small media, you know, population, some
Giuliano,
people.
it's not the first time.
It's not the first time.
It's the cross we carry.
Okay.
You know, I'm blessed with a great team of people. We're not alone.
Nice.
And if we didn't have the support from the team, it would be difficult. But for 40 years, there's always been good people to stand up and be counted.
Right.
So we do not carry the cross alone.
All right.
We get, every time you stand up, Ottawa will try to beat you down on this issue.
You think they try to shut you up?
It's not personal.
No.
You know, it's not, a lot of
because
people.
if you win, a lot of people will be, you know, well, they're gonna have
An open door.
open door, right?
No, that's fine.
Well, because you fight for this, you fight for this pilot project, which exists.
Yeah.
So, and you're gonna go to the end. I know you're gonna go into the end. So, if you win, a lot of people, a lot of immigration consultants, lots of immigration lawyers will be benefit, you know, from, you know, your action. You know, from the money we spend it, because you spend the money in lawyers,
Sure.
right, to go after those people. So,
But
what do you have to say
Giuliano,
about that?
it's always the case. You know, people find it hard to believe, but when you become a lawyer, you take an oath to serve the law, and you're not a consultant. You don't sit down with a calculator. When you start acting for clients, of course you got to make money. You got to pay the bills.
Well,
But if everybody benefits, good.
right.
It hurts. What that doesn't hurt me. What hurts, what is painful, I got to tell you, are a lot of people who have benefited from the fight in the past, and they became immigrants. And they were undocumented.
Right.
They couldn't pass an English exam. They were illegal.
Right.
Then they win because of people fighting for them. And the moment they succeed, they're comfortable and they don't help their younger brothers and sisters. And a lot of the community that's very comfortable, you know, they say, I won't mention names of organizations or institutions,
yes.
but there's a lot of institutional groups in this town that have close contact with undocumented workers and their children, and they don't lift a finger to help.
Okay.
And that's what hurts. It's not the fight that hurts. It's not the being shot as a messenger by Ottawa. That's part of the game. It's nothing personal.
Okay.
I bear no malice towards the minister or to the government because they're shooting away.
Well, you have the Navis family.
Yeah.
You know that you're working very close with them, and they just about to get deported twice.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then I saw the family. I talked to the family.
Yeah.
And then they really thank Richard Boraks,
Well,
because you went out of the way to support the family. And by the
Lovely.
way, no, one more thing. The immigration was missing to talk to the kids, to see psychologists, how much they're going to be hurt if they're going back, but they never thought about it. They never talked to the family. That's when you get into the picture.
Yeah.
You stand up and say, hey, you know, let's talk to those kids first.
And
So how do you develop this idea and start to, you know, keep it pushing forward to keep this family in Canada?
It's the cross I carry.
All right.
I and a few people, we carry this cross. And what really pains and what really hurts when you carry this cross is the way Ottawa now, the government treats the children. This is devastating. And the way they ignore people. In the old days, I'm an old man, in the old days, you would talk to an officer.
Okay.
They would sit you down and they'd look you in the face and make a decision.
Right.
Now you talk to files and paper and computer. The Nash family. The file gets sent to British Columbia.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to the kids. The law is very simple.
Well, I heard you you take to the federal court.
We went to federal court.
Federal
we went to
court,
federal
yeah,
court,
eh?
and we got a good judge. And that's why I'm proud of being a lawyer sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of our courts regularly because the courts are the last line of defense against a bureaucracy that's totally out of control.
Well, you say it's a million illegal people in Canada.
Yeah.
So the immigration is being deported many that
Absolutely.
has a job, pay tax and everything.
Yep.
What do you have to say about the refugees? Because the refugees came 3 years ago. They still in hotels,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know much about it, but I need to ask him. So what do you think is going to happen?
You know, once again,
Your personal opinion.
I have a personal opinion,
Ah.
but when it gets to this subject, I put my personal opinion aside, and I put on my lawyer's hat, not my cowboy hat,
Okay.
but my lawyer's hat,
Right.
and I say, listen, there are so many newspapers, so many churches, so many other organizations supporting these 30,000 people crossing the border illegally, and they have defenders, and the government's going out of its way, and the government spends all its time, apparently, dealing with 30,000 people, and the government has lost control of those 30,000 situations.
Why are the immigrants so afraid of immigration? Because you know what? If the immigration is the only one that can solve their problem, their issues, why are they so afraid of it?
With the government?
Yeah, well, no, the immigrants afraid of to talk to the immigration officers.
Well, you know, I really don't blame. I understand the immigrants. They're whether they're illegal or they're legal. It's a strange country for them. If I went to Brazil or to China, it's tricky. So I understand their fear. I understand their concern. And they blame the lawyers, they blame this, they blame that. I understand that. But what really bothers me are their families, their friends, their employers, especially, I'll be honest with you, especially in the European, Brazilian, and Latino communities. Those communities are doing so little, providing so little support.
Well, when you say they're doing so little, what they should doing better?
Well, they should do what our friends from Africa and Asia do.
Lobby.
Lobby.
Okay.
You know, the money that our friends from India and China spend on lobbying, going to politicians. There's not one Indian or Chinese lobbying group that will
But
put up with this nonsense.
Mr. Boraks, some clients come to your office.
Yeah.
Lots of them that doesn't have the money.
So you give credit.
Okay, I think you're the only ones being given credit.
Yeah, you give
right?
credit.
You give a credit, so you don't turn them down.
You know, we never turn anybody down because they don't have the money.
Okay, so you're one of a kind. I believe so.
Well,
so you know what?
It's a good investment.
But what I understand is, if you don't do lobbying because you don't have money, if you don't have money, you're not going to get approval.
That's right.
Right? So do you think this is fair? Where is humanitarian Canada? Because Canada is a country that knows as a humanitarian.
Well,
you know, so it's. You understand
the
my
system,
point?
I understand your point, but the way the system is set up, and it's wrong, but the way the system is set up, the government, they say, okay, we'll take 300,000, but we'll encourage 1 million applications, but we'll only accept 300,000.
Well, it's a big difference now about the approving application because 2016 you have what 1,600 between Italians and Portuguese, but you have I believe 50,000 Filipinos and Indians, you know, all of.
Because they lobby.
Wow.
Because they're together. They
Again,
support each other.
Law should be to everybody.
Well, but it
Right? Should be
isn't.
equal. Well, isn't.
Well, the law
Okay.
is. Well, let me take that back. The law is.
Ah.
The law. Canada is blessed with the best immigration laws in the world. We are blessed with the best immigration officers in the world. They're good. Our problem is we have politicians who have to create the policies, and they have nothing but chaos. They run it like a chaotic situation.
If you have a power today
Yeah.
to change a law,
Yeah.
which one of you says this is going to be the first one?
I would make the provinces powerful. I would take away the right. Ottawa everybody thinks that Ottawa,
What do you take it away?
I would not allow Ottawa to decide which class of people will come into this province.
So you think
or any other
Ottawa
province.
is the one who's decided what kind of people is going to stay in Canada?
Well, look, if you want to go to Quebec or Manitoba
Right.
or these other smaller provinces, it's the provinces that decide.
Right.
In Ontario, Ottawa decides, and that's where the problem is.
What about Ralph Goodale? If he's got a big role of
Well, once again, Ralph Goodale runs the Immigration Police, the Canada Border Services Agency.
All right.
And in Ontario, it's got to be the height of hypocrisy. Here we have Ralph Goodale's ministry. Now, the Immigration Police are great people. I personally, I really respect these people. And they do a great job. But their minister, their policy, he's a very decent man, Ralph Goodale. But the policies coming out of there are a joke. Under the law, and Ralph Goodale says he wants to respect the law, and he expects you and me to respect immigration law in Ontario. Meanwhile, he orders his immigration police not to arrest illegal workers, not to arrest illegal students. He specifically orders his people, his police, not to go to job sites. So is this, I'm a lawyer, I have to live by respect for the law. And when you got the chief police minister refusing...
Is it controversial over there?
Huh?
Is it controversial? You think this is
well, it's illegal. The minister is breaking the law by not arresting 500,000 people in Ontario.
So if it has 500,000 people in Ontario, this is going to go broke.
Well, make
because
up
all the immigrants that want to work over
make
here.
up. Well, Ralph Goodale has to make up his mind. Is he running a police force or an economic agency?
So do you think immigration trying to run the economic?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The immigration. If you're running a construction company,
Okay.
you got a carpentry business, and you got 30, 40 guys in your business that are illegal. Do you feel good?
Well, no.
No. So you sit down and say, how do I make these guys legal? Then you make the papers and you lose because the government tells you don't need the workers. But so who's the government to tell you you don't need 30 carpenters?
Wow. You know what? It is huge issue right now. I can see it. And I can see you frustrated as well.
Well, I'm beyond frustration. For me...
For the past 40 years?
I'm not frustrated, Giuliano, because for me it's my job,
Is your job? You like what you do?
I love it.
You love it, right?
I love it.
Right.
But for the human stupidity, I've accepted it. I'm not so bright myself. Right. So I accept stupidity in other people because I'm not that bright myself. But what really bothers me is when people like the ministers, they stand up and they pretend the problem does not exist. And when you go, I remember when Charles Sousa and Peter Fonseca, when they were ministers here in Ontario, the committee, Undocumented Workers Committee, we went to Queen's Park. We saw Mr. Sousa and Mr. Fonseca, and we asked them, well, what do you think about the illegal workers in Toronto, in Ontario? You know what they said? What illegal workers?
Okay, they don't know.
And they say, give us the data.
And then Peter says it is 500,000 illegal.
500,000 in the Toronto area.
Okay.
And and that's why I got to respect the Americans, because at least the Americans, when they have all their illegal workers, because percentage, it's the same as us. They talk about it, they yell about it, they fight about it, and they come to a conclusion of some kind. But in Canada, everybody's making money from the illegals.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody's making good money. And nobody
when
wants...
When you say everybody, who is this everybody?
Well, it's the immigration... Well, the government's losing a ton of money.
Okay.
The government's losing billions of dollars here in taxes.
Why they invest on refugees and some other things? I have nothing against to invest in the refugees.
Yeah.
But once a refugee come to Canada, so they're not persecuted anymore. They have a job. They're not in dangers anymore. Their families has a place to live.
I'll tell you
why they keep and feed them for the past 3 years with the taxpayers' money.
It's all politics.
It's
all politics because Ottawa does not want to give Ontario more than 80,000 legal immigrants a year economically. So once you're over 80,000, then you're illegal. And for trades workers, listen to this. Of that 89,000 legal immigrants, economic, who come to Ontario, what percentage are trades workers? Carpenters, food guys, mechanics. 4%.
Wow.
4%.
4%.
Ottawa wants computer geniuses. They want white-collar jobs. They want guys to work in offices. But if you show up with a hammer or
Who's
a
gonna do the roads?
screwdriver,
Who's gonna build the bridges?
they don't
what I mean?
care.
So
They don't want them.
Mr. Boraks, I really enjoyed this conversation with you.
Yeah.
But my director over there, my producer says we need to end.
Wow.
But hey, please promise that you come back.
Absolutely, Giuliano.
I have some question for you, and if you have a question for Richard Boraks, just send an email to info@golivetv.ca, and then we're gonna put your question over here, and he's gonna answer. You're not afraid to ask him question, are you?
Never.
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 This is Boraks.
Sir.
Thank you so much,
Very
Mr.
good, a
Boraks.
lot of fun.
Okay, thank you so much.
Good.
Stay tuned. Our TV Canada will be back soon. Later.